We're taking you live now to Canberra for a news conference with the Greens.
Sitting around doing nothing, who could be shown the door without impacting on the essential functions that the ABC provide. Today is a really sad day for public broadcasting. We did see it coming, and we know that this government has an ideological hatred of anything with the word public attached to it, whether it be public transport, public housing, public education. But the one that they seem to fear the most is public broadcasting. And so today is an incredibly sad day. The Greens will be at the forefront of the campaign to restore the funding and the independence of our public broadcaster. Let's not forget that the attacks, the budget attacks on the ABC, the speculation from the Prime Minister's office on down, were happening within the same few weeks as the Prime Minister and the Communications Minister were criticising the ABC's editorial direction and its reporting of profoundly important issues and events. And it's this, I think, that is the most disturbing, that it's the ideological loathing of public broadcasting and the fact that the Prime Minister seems to think that anybody who's not self-identifying as being on Team Australia should be sold off and broken up. This is a government that's taking its marching orders from the unelected policy geniuses at the Institute of Public Affairs. Item 50 on their list was break up and sell the pieces of the ABC. Item 51 was privatise the SBS. So we suspect that they're not finished, and in fact there may well be worse news to come. But we're drawing a line in the here and now. The Australian Greens will step up to fight to protect public broadcasting. We don't want to see SBS turned into a de facto fourth commercial channel. And we don't want to see the ABC further degraded, its independence and its operations compromised at such an important time for the broadcaster. And it would be funny if it weren't so sad to see National Party MPs banging the table condemning the ABC for impact on regional services, and for poor Christopher Pyne's petition that doesn't seem to have had much impact. Our call on these people is to have their opinions heard around the cabinet table rather than this bizarre charade of opposition in the public domain. It's a sad day for public broadcasting, and I think the government is about to realise that although inside the tiny little bubble of people who think that this was a good idea, that these ideas in the broad Australian community are deeply unpopular. I think we're about to find out just how unpopular this proposal is. I'm happy to take questions.
5 regional radio posts will be closed. What kind of impact do you imagine that will have on the locals there?
Well, one of those regional broadcasters is in Western Australia, in the wheatbelt town of Wagen, and I think what all 5 of those areas will have in common is that they are very, very poorly served by any other media outlets. And we know that in commercial media, particularly in radio, there's been a wave of consolidation and much less local content produced. And for some of these communities, the ABC is a lifeline, not just in terms of access to local news and current affairs, but in event of natural disasters. ABC actually can be the difference between life or death for people. This is a disastrous decision. For the National Party to be trying to lay that at the feet of Mark Scott and those who've had to make these appalling decisions internally is completely ludicrous. It's beyond ironic. This is a political decision made by Tony Abbott and his Communications Minister Malcolm Turnbull. That's where responsibility lies.
Does this not reflect the changes that are happening more broadly across the media industry?
I think the ABC has really shown that it can be a world leader in adapting to those changes, whether it's adapting to the different ways in which people are accessing content, the different pressures that digital distribution is putting on old media models. The ABC has been among the best in the world at conducting that pivot. And what we're seeing is that in the dismantling of the ABC and this huge hit on its funding that will impact nearly 10% of its workforce, is that it's going to make it that much harder for the ABC and for SBS to continue adapting to the way that people are consuming media content. So it's a decision, I think, that's going to have substantial impact on some of the more traditional forms, as we've seen with changes to ABC radio, but it's also going to impact on the ABC's ability to adapt and to be continuing to deliver content how and where people want it.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Communications spokesperson Senator Scott Ludlam is speaking there about Mark Scott's address to ABC staff on cuts to the public broadcaster. The Greens going into bat there for the ABC. Time now for a look at the